Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the horror Mizamani G. It's time to review last night's episode of It. Welcome to Derry, episode 3. Yes!
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the horror Mizamani G. Now, before we begin the episode, once again, it is always what I always have to do. There will be some small spoilers that will coming up on this my recap here. So if you haven't seen episode 3 from last night, that means you have to stop the video, go watch episode 3, and then come back and then watch this video, watch this recap. You have been warned. Now, as far as this episode, it's a bit tamer. Not a lot happens in this particular episode, but we do get some movement of the story. First of all, the episode begins with a flashback of Derry in 1908, where we actually see a young Francis Shaw. We see that his father's been stationed there, and he meets a young Native American girl named Rose. And he also has a very frightening encounter with Pennywise. Because as we see earlier in the episode, he's at a carnival with a bunch of freak shows that they had during out the day. And one of those visions, one of those freaks he sees is a skeleton man, probably some dude that's unfortunately afflicted with cancer. And then later on, when he runs into the forest after meeting Rose, he has a deadly encounter of that same image, but a frightening, more deadlier version of the skeleton man. And we see some very creaky images in that one as he chases Francis into the woods. And yeah, it's pretty frightening, typical Pennywise when we Pennywise frightening stuff that we've seen so far in this episode. Later on, we see an older version of Rose. They're meeting with other Native Americans that have some type of meaning as what the army is doing. And we also get to see the Native Americans that we saw in the second episode when they were all digging out there. He has some type of connection to Rose. And then later on, we see Rose and Francis meeting at her pawn shop store. And it's pretty interesting because you can obviously see that they liked each other back during the 1909, and that same attraction is still there. So I like to see where that particular relationship is going to go. Now we see Major Haley. He is finding Dick Halloran because he uses the slingshot that General Shaw received back from Rose in 1908 in order to find a way to get to Pennywise. However, this has caused Halloran to have a vision of Pennywise's lair and a frightening vision of his grandmother. Now, during that vision, we actually get to see a little glimpse of Pennywise, not the full version of Pennywise. We get to see his lights, and he frighteningly tells Halloran, "Who are you?" And it's like, what the hell? What are you doing here? How you can get to my lair? And then, of course, we see everyone, I guess, a frightening vision of all the Pennywise's victims are all floating because you all float too, or we all float down here, depending on what version of it you're referring to. And he also sees a very frightening image of his grandmother, and he's able to get out of that vision thanks to Major Highland. And I thought the two had a very interesting conversation later on when he goes to dinner over his house. So it's going to be really interesting to see how those two will interact throughout the rest of the show. Not while all this is going on, Lily is discharged from Juniper Hill, and when she returns to school, she tells Ronnie that if they can get proof about what really happened to those kids in the theater in the first episode, the police will have no choice but to release Ronnie's father, Hank, from jail. They eventually tell and convince Will and Rich of their plan, and uh, Rich believes that the thing or Pennywise is an Orsha, some type of, I guess, some type of Cuban spirit, evil spirit, and he convinces them they need to perform a ritual in the cemetery in order to summon and get the proof the girls need by taking photographs and developing the pictures. Unfortunately, this leads to a frightening encounter where the group is attacked by a bunch of ghosts of the dead children, but they do manage to take the pictures that they needed, and when they develop the pictures, one of them is included in the picture is a clown. Ooh, oh no, there's Pennywise. Now, as I stated before, not a lot happens. This is not as frightening as the first two episodes. We do get the encounter of the skeleton man. That's really the only thing that we see that's very frightening in this particular film. I like when we get to see the behind the scenes about how they film the encounter, the children's encounter with the ghost children. I thought it was very fascinating how they did it. And I also like the little budding romance that we see with Will Hallen and Ronnie because obviously they like each other. So I'm willing to see how that goes. And plus, now that we actually have the four children with Lonnie, Lily, Rick, and Will, it's going to be fascinating to see how they're going to continue on with this path. And then eventually will Pennywise make his appearance. So far, he's made little small appearances right now. The first time we actually see pictures of Pennywise the clown, but not the full version of Pennywise. I'm pretty sure they're saving that for later. Like I said, maybe episode 5, we might see him, but not so far yet. They're teasing him, and you can't wait to see what Pennywise is going to say when he encounters these four kids or anybody else that comes near him anyway. As I stated before, not a lot happened. Like I said before, it's a very decent episode, not better than the first two episodes. I think Andy and his wife decided to say, "All right, we got them in the first episode. Let's calm down. Let's slow the pace down. Let's build more character development. Let's add some more new characters, get some more character growth." Which I thought this episode did a good job, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next episode. So there you have it. That is my recap of Derry. Welcome to Derry, episode 3. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, like, and share. It really helps out with that YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. That way, you'll be notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Money G. And always remember, horror rules. And I see you in the next video. That guy, stay safe out there.